Today on Investigate TV Plus, artificial intelligence is becoming as common as textbooks in schools, but some education leaders are hesitant to embrace it. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. We examine the risk and benefits of AI in the classroom and the attempts to navigate this powerful tool. Plus,
there is no way he's not coming home. No way.
Even though you knew he was gone, you had to bring him home.
He has to come home. Yeah.
The love of her life drowned in the waters of a murky lake, and the hope of recovering his body had faded. We go along with a volunteer dive team as they go into the depths to give her closure.
And a young boy defeated cancer, but his fight is far from over. His motivational message to other families still in the battle for their lives.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. We've all seen the headlines about artificial intelligence, both good and bad.
AI programs like ChatGPT have generated buzz among educators because it's capable of producing human-like responses to questions, and it can be used to create lesson plans, generate writing examples, and analyze students' work.
But is AI catching on in the classroom? A May 2024 survey by the Walton Family Foundation found teachers, students, and parents largely support AI tools in the school. However, teachers say a lack of training and guidance from school leaders is holding back efforts to make the most of the technology. There's also a reluctance to fully embrace AI amid concerns about privacy and plagiarism. Some districts have gone so far as to ban it.
Investigative reporter Kristen Crowley takes an in-depth look at how the academic community is navigating this new age of automation.
If you have that character chart that I gave you yesterday, get that out.
The Great Gatsby is one of those novels you, maybe even your parents, likely learned about in high school. But chances are you never learned it like this.
I prompted the AI to ask you to use quotes.
Artificial intelligence is helping this 10th grade American Lit class tackle one of F. Scott Fitzgerald's most famous works. They're using a conversation-style chatbot designed specifically for schools.
I loaded it with questions related to characters.
Teacher Michael Burns says he's seen a lot of changes during his more than 2 decades at Marist School in Atlanta, but he never saw this coming.
It's interactive. I think it draws the kids out.
The Atlanta private high school started incorporating AI in the classroom in late 2022.
It's definitely easier to study.
It'll be a very valuable skill in the future.
Sentiments that motivated Principal Kevin Mullally to embrace it at Marist.
Jobs are going to be driven in some sense by people's ability and capability in sort of interacting with this technology. So we want our students to be equipped for that in the future.
Teachers decide how and when students can use AI, and Mullally says their feedback has been overwhelmingly positive.
Do you think AI should be in every school?
I think AI should be in every school.
But according to an EdWeek Research Center survey from late 2023, more than a quarter of educators say their district bans students from using the technology. Baltimore County Public Schools, for instance, doesn't allow it in the classroom, and Milwaukee Public Schools has blocked it on school devices.
This is an enormous temptation for kids.
Liz Schulman is a teacher outside Chicago. Her high school doesn't prohibit the use of AI, but she does.
It's ultimately robbing students of the ability to think critically and to use their imagination.
Does AI make your job harder?
100%. It makes it harder because it's one more thing that teachers have to worry about.
Schulman's not alone. More than 200 teachers were recently surveyed about ChatGPT, and nearly half said they think the program will make their jobs more difficult. But still, the majority do not believe it should be banned.
It is rarely, if ever, a good idea to ban a technology.
Richard Collada is CEO of the International Society for Technology and Education. He says educators should learn to leverage AI because it's not going anywhere.
Where does AI rank compared to the other technologies you've dealt with?
Just to be completely clear about this, AI is a level of transformation that is an order of magnitude greater than most other things that we have seen. It's something that will fundamentally change how we approach learning.
In May 2023, the U.S. Department of Education released a report with recommendations about safe, responsible, and accessible AI use. But there is no federal legislation overseeing it in schools. But as of early 2024, just 5 states had released official guidance on best practices for developing those policies. Even so, Collada says he believes reinforcing academic integrity will go further than trying to regulate a rapidly changing technology.
I think it would be far better to say, what does it mean to be a good digital citizen? What does it mean to use any technology, whether it has AI behind it or not, in a way that is helping you be a creative learner?
Important questions to many educators who say AI makes it remarkably easy to plagiarize and can be difficult to detect.
It's just so hard to manage, and students can do it at home.
It's a growing concern, as 26% of educators say they've caught a student cheating using ChatGPT.
Here's an example of how that could happen. I'm on ChatGPT's website right now. Let's say that your teacher wants a 500-word essay on the Great Gatsby character Nick Carraway. I just type that into the prompt, and within seconds, you have a 500-word essay ready to turn in.
Collada agrees cheating is a significant problem, but says the issue began long before generative AI came around. He points to findings from a recent Stanford University study.
The rate of cheating did not change at all from before or after the availability of AI tools.
Still, he acknowledges the technology has limitations and potential risks, noting the tools are only as good as the information they're trained on, and the collection of data raises privacy concerns. That's why Collada says collaboration will be key as it continues to evolve.
It's critically important that schools are working together on some of these issues.
And many are. In fact, districts from California to New York have partnered with the nonprofit EdSafe AI Alliance to create a national network of AI policy labs. These labs are joining forces to promote responsible AI development, deployment, and usage.
What do you hope this program will accomplish?
The Policy Institute is really a space for other like-minded organizations to come together and to share best practices.
Jerry Almendarez is superintendent of Santa Ana Unified School District, one of the first districts to sign on to the project.
It is critical that districts come together and participate in these conversations, because those districts that don't, my fear is that we're going to be left behind.
Back in Atlanta,
Any questions?
Michael Burns says he'll continue exploring the depths of AI in hopes of helping build a better classroom of tomorrow for himself and his students.
Anything to get them to be engaged with the text, pay attention, be curious. I think those are all things that are positive that are coming out of it.
ChatGPT creator OpenAI declined to comment for our story, but they have released a guide for educators on their website. It includes suggested teaching prompts and information about whether AI detectors designed to catch plagiarism work. Investigative reporter Kristen Crowley joins us now. Kristen, what have companies done in regard to the detectors?
OpenAI created an AI classifier tool in 2023 to help distinguish text written by the technology. The company says it's struggled with accuracy, correctly identifying AI-written text only 26% of the time. It also wrongly labeled human-written text as AI-generated 9% of the time. These limitations contributed to its eventual shutdown.
An intimidating phone call from someone claiming to be a government agent can sound very scary, but should you respond to the threat?
Before you answer, learn how to be your own investigator and spot an imposter.
But first, it was supposed to be the beginning of the rest of their lives. But on the day of their engagement, her fiance dove into a murky lake and never came up.
There's no way he's not coming home. No way.
We go beneath the surface as a volunteer dive team trains for a challenging and poignant mission. Cold, dark, and dangerous. The Army Corps of Engineers says more than 24 bodies have never been recovered from the depths of Lake Lanier just outside of Atlanta. Disappearances that left families grieving over loved ones lost in the water and never found.
But a group of volunteers is trying to help those families move beyond the emotional turmoil that comes with losing a loved one in such dire circumstances.
One woman whose fiance drowned in Lake Lanier in 2022 credits the team for bringing her closure after law enforcement had given up.
Investigative reporter Brendan Keefe goes on one of the dive team's training missions, and for privacy reasons, we're only using the first name of the victim's fiance.
The serenity of Lake Lanier lures millions of visitors every year, but there is danger hiding just beneath the surface.
Officials say 29-year-old Kayon Ding fell off his boat Saturday.
He is the best person I've ever known.
Annie's boyfriend dove into the water and never came up. But he left something behind on the boat, an engagement ring. Kayan had brought Annie to the lake to propose.
I made up my mind. I told my friends, okay, I know I don't have much money, I don't have much resources, but as long as I leave for a day, I'll find him. There is no way he's not coming home. No way.
Even though you knew he was gone, you had to bring him home.
He has to go home. Yeah.
The body of a man is still missing more than 24 hours after he fell off a boat.
But they said, we're calling off the search.
They have to stop at a certain point.
And after 5 days, typically, the search is ended. When that happens, the families call us and ask us to please come out and help recover the body so that we can provide closure to the families. That's what it's all about.
Richard Pickering runs the emergency dive response team.
Try going right here and squeezing it, see if you can get it on tight.
All right, dive down. Dive it down.
Volunteers who keep searching for victims under the lake after government agencies have stopped.
Is it Richard underwater? Richard, can you hear? Can you hear?
Unfortunately, there's bodies still on the bottom of Lake Lanier from back in the 70s and 80s that have never been recovered.
Visibility in the lake quickly goes from poor to pitch black.
Once you get down in that silt, it's hard to find a drowning victim because a lot of times they're down in that silt.
And then there are the trees. Yes, trees. Lake Lanier has an underwater forest.
When they flooded the lake, they did not chop down the trees, so anything over 35 feet deep, they left the trees. They went around and cut off the tops of them, but the trees are as thick now as they are on the shoreline that you see behind us.
All of this gear, even the gas for the boats, comes from donations. The divers sacrificing their time and risking their safety to recover the bodies of complete strangers.
It does cost a lot to run these operations. Every time we go out, we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
They found Annie's fiancé on the 9th day and brought his body to the surface.
It's dangerous for anybody, any human being to go down there. It's anti-human nature, right? So I feel like Richard's team doing that, risking their life. For a family like me, I wouldn't be able to have Kayan back without Richard's help.
If Kayan were here right now, what do you think he would say to the divers who found him?
He would say, I'm sorry for having you guys go through all this dangers to find me, but thanks so much for bringing me back to my family at home. He would feel worried. He wouldn't want people to risk their life to find him, but he will be so appreciative.
The Georgia Department of Natural Resources has an agreement with the Emergency Dive Response Team to recover victims from waterways statewide. The dive team doesn't charge the state or the families for their services. For now, the all-volunteer team operates mainly on private donations.
A young boy survived a rare form of bone cancer, but his fight is far from finished. Still to come, how he inspires other children and families facing a similar challenge. Earlier, we asked, what would you do if an IRS agent called and demanded payment for overdue taxes? Ever gotten one of those?
I haven't, but if I did, I'd be pretty terrified.
You would? You
Yeah.
wouldn't just hang up or anything like that?
I might hang up, but then do some research after that.
Major research,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, up next, how to be your own investigator and spot the scam. They're experts at disguise, and their tricks are so believable you may feel compelled to give them your money.
Every day, scammers claiming to be from the government bilk countless Americans. According to the Federal Trade Commission, nearly 854,000 people filed complaints about government imposter scams in 2023, and losses nearly doubled from $40 million in 2022 to $76 million in 2023. But the FTC admits this number could be underreported because victims may be too embarrassed or afraid to come forward.
Before you answer the phone, investigative reporter Josie Sturman helps you unmask imposters by being your own investigator.
Ever had a call claiming you have a warrant out for your arrest, or a voicemail from someone at the IRS that seemed just a little strange? There are plenty of scams out there, but those involving people pretending to be from the government can be especially scary. The threat of jail or lost money can be very real. In this Be Your Own Investigator, we look at government imposter scams and the red flags experts say you should be on the lookout for. Last year, the Federal Trade Commission got more than 200,000 reports of government imposters, and people have lost hundreds of millions of dollars. The biggest red flag is if someone says they need payment immediately. Let's be real, the government usually doesn't move that fast. Also, they never want you to pay them in gift cards or wire transfers. Now, what about the calls? Here's one terrifying problem. Scammers can actually copy a government number or name and make it show up on your caller ID. So don't immediately trust that it's the sheriff's office calling you just because your screen says so. One big thing to know, the government won't call you in almost any circumstance. So if you've had nothing to do with an agency and you just get a call out of nowhere, hang up the phone. Agencies say you should always initiate the contact, but you've also got to be careful there too. We've seen scammers pay to have listings on Google for fake numbers that'll show up on top. So try to get a number from the website you're sure is the agency's, or get it off an old bill, a paper phone book, or in many places you can call 311 to get help. A little insider info from the government, there are 5 agencies most often imitated: the Social Security Administration, Medicare and HHS, Customs and Border Protection, the Post Office, and the FTC, which is who puts out these numbers. Absolutely head-spinning. With this Be Your Own Investigator, I'm Josie Sturman.
If you think you've been the victim of an imposter scam, you can report it to the FTC at their website, reportfraud.ftc.gov. The FTC says your report will be shared with more than 2,800 law enforcers.
Up next, he endured something no child should go through.
What's it like being a cancer survivor?
Well, it's exciting for one thing, and very glad I survived that.
We show you what his life is like after childhood cancer and how he hopes to inspire other survivors. For a little boy in Louisiana, cancer is a chapter of his life, but fortunately the rest of his story is about growing up as a cancer survivor.
In 2020, Hayden White was just 8 years old when doctors diagnosed him with a rare form of bone cancer called osteosarcoma. According to the American Cancer Society, osteosarcoma is not a common cancer. Each year, about 1,000 cases are diagnosed in the United States, and about half of these are in children and teens. The outlook depends on many factors, including where the tumor is located, if it's spread, and the patient's age.
And we're happy to say that Hayden is now a preteen and cancer-free, but his recovery journey is far from over. Reporter Elizabeth Vowell shows us his inspiring journey after childhood cancer.
Seeing 12-year-old Hayden White play in his backyard, it's easy to miss the scar on his knee. It's the only outward sign of the battles he's fought.
What's it like being a cancer survivor?
Well, it's exciting for one thing, and very glad I survived that.
We first met Hayden 4 years ago when he was in the middle of chemo treatment for a rare case of a rare bone cancer. The mass was discovered after Hayden started having unexplained pain near his knee. In addition to a grueling 8 months of intense chemo, he underwent surgery to remove part of his femur and replace it with a special prosthesis that can be manipulated to grow with him.
His goal was always to be able to run and ride a bike, and that still is the goal. So, and he plays baseball.
All of Hayden's treatments and surgeries happened here at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, which is also home to a St. Jude clinic. That partnership allowed Hayden's local medical team to lean on the expertise and resources from St. Jude without ever leaving Baton Rouge. His parents say being able to stay close to home has made a difficult time a little easier.
When they were building it, I drove by and I thought, we had kids, but I was like, I'm never going to need the Children's Hospital, and we spend so much time there. So having it local is just makes it so easy on us.
While Hayden is now cancer-free, his journey is far from over. He must undergo frequent scans, and he'll also need more surgeries to replace the prosthesis in his leg as he outgrows it, the equivalent of a knee replacement every 2 years until he's 18.
He has to learn how to bend his knee all over again, walk, ride a bike, all of that he has to learn every time. But his last surgery that he had, I think in 2022, he rehabbed himself. So a week after, he was riding his bike.
But his family is finding their new normal thanks to their support system of friends and family, which now includes the staff at the Children's Hospital, allowing them to embrace the slow moments like this and even offer support for other kids and families facing the same challenge.
That it's okay, that they could feel better someday.
Your heart hurts watching part of that, but such an inspirational message too by that family and that brave kid.
Yeah, he's so young and so brave and inspiring to others.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Pout.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Investigate TV Plus, families left in the dark as doctors who commit medical malpractice are shielded by the federal government from public scrutiny.
This was him the morning of his surgery, and this is how they returned him to me.
We take our questions to a top military medical care official.